You know that sinking feeling you get in your stomach when you think about money? Well, today we're going to tackle one of the biggest financial knots imaginable, a massive, overwhelming debt on a pretty modest salary. But this isn't just a scary story. It's a real-life roadmap for how to get out.
So let's just start with the big question right away. If you're earning 40,000 rupees a month, is it even possible to escape a 20 lakh rupee debt? I mean, for a lot of people, a debt that big feels like a life sentence. It feels impossible, right? A mountain you can't even begin to climb. But what if I told you there's a path to the top? Let's go find it together.
20.5 lakh rupees. Let that sink in. We're talking over 2 million rupees. To put that in perspective, that is more than 4 years of her entire salary. And that's before spending a single rupee on food or rent or anything. When you see the number laid out like this, you realize it's not just a debt, it's this crushing weight on someone's life. Okay, so how on earth does a hole this deep even get dug? Before we can talk about the escape plan, we have to go back and understand the exact steps that led down into this trap in the first place. All right, so let's meet the person at the heart of this story. We're going to call her Neha to protect her privacy. She's 35 years old, and she has a stable government job. So, on the surface, everything seems totally fine. But her financial reality, well, that tells a very, very different story. So, where is all this debt actually coming from? Well, this chart shows it's not just one big monster loan. It's more like a hydra with a bunch of different heads. You've got multiple personal loans, you've got that sneaky credit card debt, a loan taken against an insurance policy, and even a large amount borrowed from her own father. Each one is pulling her in a different direction. And this table, this lays out the entire financial battlefield. And you can see the real enemy right there, plain as day. Look at that second personal loan. A staggering 16.49% interest rate. That's not a loan, that's a financial wildfire burning through her money every single month. And that credit card, even with a small balance, is probably carrying an even higher interest rate, which makes it super dangerous. So, how did things spiral so completely out of control? Well, it started with good intentions. She took out loans for family reasons to help her brother get a business off the ground. But the real catastrophe? That was the attempt to find a quick fix. She was desperate, so she turned to speculative options trading, hoping for some kind of miracle to pay it all off fast. Instead, she lost over 5 lakh rupees. Just gone. And that dug the hole catastrophically deeper. Okay, so that's the problem, and it's a big one. But now, let's talk about the solution. You can't build a real plan to get out unless you do a full inventory of the entire financial situation. The good, the bad, and even the stuff that's hidden. So here's her monthly cash flow. She brings in 40,000. After all her living expenses and just the minimum payments on her loans, she's left with only 6,000 rupees. That is like trying to bail out a sinking ship with a teaspoon. At this rate, she's just treading water forever. It's so clear that this passive approach is a complete dead end. But hold on, because this is where the tide starts to turn. It's not all red ink and bad news. Neha has some hidden strengths. She has a piece of land, she has gold that can act as a last resort emergency fund, and she has that stable job. But you know what her most powerful asset is? It's not on any balance sheet. It's her decision to stop drowning and start fighting back. That's the one thing nobody can take away from her. All right, with a full picture of the problem and the tools she has, now we can finally chart the path to freedom. This is the step-by-step plan to systematically break the chains of debt for good. This plan is just a masterclass in strategy. First, that gold becomes a fortress. It's now the emergency fund, no more borrowing in a crisis, period. Next, she reclaims a 70,000 rupee loan she had given out, and she uses that cash to completely wipe out the high-interest credit card debt. Then, and this is so important, she closes the credit card account for good. The temptation is gone. After that, she attacks the smallest personal loan with everything she's got. This gives her a quick psychological win and frees up more cash, which starts this powerful debt snowball. Finally, she surrenders an inefficient insurance policy, uses the money to clear its own loan, and replaces it with a much cheaper, much better term insurance plan. And this quote, it just gets to the absolute core of the issue. The problem here isn't just math. It's about mindset. The reliance on easy credit, the high-risk trading, it's an addiction. And you don't just manage an addiction, you have to pull it out by the root. Now, the reward for all of this hard work and discipline isn't just about getting back to zero. No, it's about unlocking a future that seemed totally impossible just a little while ago. Let's see what that debt-free future actually looks like. This is the transformation. Just look at this. By systematically getting rid of just those first few small, expensive loans, Neha's monthly surplus leaps from a suffocating 6,000 rupees to over 20,000 rupees. This is the moment everything changes. She goes from just barely surviving to actually building her future.
So what does she do with all this new financial firepower? Well, she gives every single rupee a specific job. A part of it goes to building a proper cash emergency fund so she never has to rely on gold or borrowing again. Another chunk goes to steadily and respectfully paying back her father. And a full half of it, 10,000 rupees every single month, is put to work investing in building real wealth.
And this is the ultimate prize at the end of this long road. By consistently investing that 10,000 rupees a month, from her late 30s all the way to retirement, Neha is on track to build a potential corpus of over 1.3 crore rupees. Think about that. This isn't just escaping debt. This is creating legitimate wealth from the absolute ashes of a financial disaster. So, after this incredible journey from a 20 lakh debt to a potential 1.3 crore future, what's the biggest takeaway? Well, it all really boils down to two non-negotiable golden rules. These are the two promises she has to make to herself for life. First, no more speculative trading. That whole get-rich-quick mirage is what turned a bad situation into a total catastrophe. And second, no more credit cards. For her, it was a tool that just enabled and amplified the debt. These aren't just rules. This is her new financial constitution. You know, Neha's story is a powerful reminder that financial freedom isn't really about how much you earn. It's about the clarity of your plan and the discipline of your actions. It proves that no matter how deep the hole feels, there is always a way out. And that leaves us with a question to think about. What's the single biggest lesson your own financial journey has taught you?